hate living like this!
Think about the strongest person you know, the one who never seems to break, the one everyone goes to when life falls apart. They listen, they reassure, they hold everything together, like it costs them nothing. We admire people like that. We call them resilient, grounded, the rock of the group. But here's a question we rarely ask. What if that strength is not a sign of stability, but a sign of survival? Because the truth is, some of the calmest people you'll ever meet are not calm at all. They're just practiced at swallowing their reactions, practiced at choosing silence over honesty, practiced at carrying weight no one else can see. You see composure, but you don't see the constant self-control behind it. You see reliability, but you don't see the exhaustion. And over time, that quiet strength becomes a role they can't step out of. Not because they don't feel, but because they've learned it's safer if no one ever knows how much they do.
I cannot handle this workload. It is absolutely impossible.
To understand why some people hide their emotions so well, we have to go back to where it usually begins. Not in adulthood, but in childhood. Emotional suppression is rarely a conscious decision. It's a defense mechanism, a pattern the brain builds to protect itself when being open doesn't feel safe. Imagine a child who cries and is told they're too sensitive, or a child who feels afraid but is mocked for being weak, or worse, one whose emotions are simply ignored, as if they don't exist at all. Over time, that child learns a quiet but powerful rule. My feelings are not welcome here. Psychologists call this an invalidating environment. And the brain adapts quickly. It starts to filter, mute, and eventually bury emotional expression, not because the feelings disappear, but because showing them becomes risky. This is where certain attachment patterns begin to form, especially what's known as avoidant attachment, where a person learns to rely only on themselves, to detach rather than depend, to stay composed rather than exposed. Inside, the dialogue becomes automatic. Don't say anything. Stay in control. Handle it yourself. And it doesn't always come from harsh environments. Sometimes it comes from unpredictability. Homes where emotions were explosive, inconsistent, or overwhelming. In those spaces, silence feels safer than expression. So what looks like emotional strength later in life often started as emotional self-protection, not a personality, a strategy. If you look beneath the surface, the silence isn't random. It's driven by fear. Not loud, obvious fear, but quiet, deeply rooted ones that shape how a person shows up in the world. The first is the fear of rejection. Somewhere along the way, they learn that being fully seen comes with a risk. People leave, judge, or pull away. So they edit themselves. They share just enough to be accepted, but never enough to be exposed. Then there's the fear of vulnerability. To them, emotions feel unpredictable, even dangerous. Opening up means losing control. And losing control feels like stepping into chaos, so they choose composure instead. Another powerful one is the fear of being a burden. They look at others and think, everyone has their own problems. Why should I add mine? So they carry everything alone and call it strength. And finally, the fear of losing control altogether. Because once you open the door to what you feel, what if it doesn't stop? So they hold it in, tight. Not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. and have never been taught that it's safe to let it out. At first, hiding your feelings works. It keeps things stable. It keeps you functioning. It even earns you respect. But over time, that silence starts to collect a cost, and it shows up in ways most people don't immediately recognize. Mentally, it creates a constant undercurrent of pressure. When emotions are pushed down instead of processed, they don't disappear, they circulate. This often turns into anxiety, overthinking, or what psychologists call high-functioning depression. You look fine on the outside, but inside, everything feels heavy and exhausting. Even on days when nothing happened, you feel drained. Neurologically, your brain is working overtime. The amygdala, your threat detection system, stays on high alert, scanning, suppressing, managing. Stress hormones like cortisol remain elevated. Your nervous system never fully relaxes. You're not just tired, you're wired and tired at the same time, and the body keeps track. Chronic suppression has been linked to headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues, even long-term cardiovascular strain. The emotions you don't express don't vanish. They translate. Socially, the cost is quieter, but just as painful. You can be surrounded by people who care about you, yet feel completely alone, because they're connecting with the version of you that's filtered, edited, controlled. You are seen but not known, loved but not understood, and eventually, something gives. For some, it's burnout. For others, emotional numbness, where you don't just block the pain, you block everything. Because when you shut down what hurts, you often shut down what heals too. And yet, this isn't the whole story, because the same patterns that protect them also shape a very unique kind of strength. People who hide their feelings often become incredibly observant. They've spent years scanning for subtle cues, tone shifts, facial expressions, body language. Walk into a room with them, and they'll notice what others miss: the tension behind a joke, the hesitation in someone's voice. They know what a forced smile looks like because they've worn one. They also develop a quiet, profound empathy. When someone opens up, they don't interrupt or rush to fix it. They listen fully, gently, because they understand what it feels like to carry something heavy in silence. With them, people feel safe. And in moments of chaos, they're often the calmest person in the room. While others react emotionally, they switch into control mode. Focused, logical, steady. They handle the crisis. They organize, respond, solve. Only later, when everything is over, do they allow themselves to feel what they pushed aside. But here's the paradox. They are often the most reliable person for everyone else, and the least supported themselves. Strong, capable, composed, yet quietly caring more than anyone realizes.
And then everyone started laughing.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all week. I just don't understand how they could do this to me. I work so hard, and for what, you know? It feels completely...
So what do we do with all of this? If you recognize someone in your life who hides their feelings, understand this. Pushing them to just open up won't work. In fact, it often does the opposite. The more pressure they feel, the deeper they retreat. What they need isn't force, it's safety, consistency, patience. Small moments that prove they won't be judged, dismissed, or abandoned when things get real. Instead of asking, "Are you okay?" try something more specific, like, "What's been weighing on you lately?" Give them space, but stay present. And if you are the one behind the mask, hear this clearly. Your strength is real, but your silence is costing you more than you think. You don't have to break down all your walls at once. Just start small. One honest sentence. One safe person. One moment where you choose to be real instead of composed. This is how change begins, not with dramatic breakthroughs, but with quiet honesty, awareness, expression, and slowly learning that your emotions are not something to hide, but something to understand. Because what once protected you may now be limiting you. You survived by staying silent, but you don't have to live that way forever. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more deep psychology content and share in the comments. Do you tend to hide your feelings, or are you learning to open up?
I hate living like this!
You think I like it? This is your fault.